Welcome to the Plant-Based Podcast. Did you know that plants are truly amazing? Not only can you grow them and eat them, you can also wear them, drink them, nourish your skin with them, and so much more. Let Ellen and Michael inspire you to love plants as much as they do, as they chat with the movers and shakers in this wonderful plant-based world. So, let's dig in.
Hey guys, the sponsor for Series 16 of the Plant-Based Podcast is Grow This Not That, which is the Substack by myself, Michael Perry, also known as Mr. Plant Geek. This is the place where you can get all the hot happenings in the hort world directly to your inbox. Every Friday there's a hort report which brings together the influencer, industry and home gardener worlds, and every Wednesday I'll recommend 5 plants that you can grow, and subscribers get an extra free as well. All you need to do to find out more about my wonderful Substack called Grow This Not That is go to mrplantgeek.substack.com. Hope to see you there. What are you doing, Ellen?
What are you doing?
Trust me. I do it on here all the time.
You had nothing to do with it a second ago.
I know, but I am a technical person, apparently, and I kind of know sometimes what does and doesn't work.
Okay, welcome to Ellen. Cool. Well, we're in the 16th series of the podcast, and we've seen a lot of things come and go, a lot of changes over the years, and we wanted to dedicate an episode to social media and where social media goes next in terms of gardening and horticulture. And so we're going to talk to 2 people at very different ends of the spectrum for gardening and social media. So we've roped in one of our old friends, Skinny Jean Gardner, who is our guest on the podcast.
Everything you said made me sound really old, though.
We are.
No, it's a compliment.
No, we are,
because we're sitting here and we're kind of like the OGs, and we remember before social media, and we kind of like, we embraced it when it came along, and it has changed a lot since then. And not only since the pandemic, but just before the pandemic, social media was kind of kicking off, and now we're like, well, where are we at with social media? Is it benefiting gardening and horticulture? Is it making more people take up the hobby? Is it inhibiting it? What could change? What is going to happen next? So we thought, who better to speak to than Blue Peter Gardner, Skinny Jean Gardner.
And recent Snowdon climber.
Yeah, exactly.
Taking his medal around.
£6.45 medal, from Snowdon.
You had to pay for it?
You had to pay for it,
Oh, gosh.
You should have seen the people up there. They're not giving them away. That'd be crazy. You're speaking to the right person, because I hate social media, so it's brilliant.
All right, go for the juggler.
This is a great way to start. Lee, do you remember when you very first started on social media? What year
when you
was
loved it, of course.
2014, I started on social media. And we had no idea what it was, did we? So, I don't think it was a thing then, was it?
No, I think...
Yeah, what was the first...
I was the same, so about the same time as you probably, because you were at Jimmy's farm, and I think that's how I found you. So, do you know, via social media, perhaps?
Facebook.
No, maybe it's Twitter, Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah, Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, good memory. So it would have been Facebook for me, because I didn't join Instagram until 2015. So it probably was Facebook first.
Yeah.
But then, what was it about? Were we just putting stuff out there that we enjoyed, here's a flower, or here's what I'm doing? But it wasn't so all-encompassing
It
as
wasn't
it is
so
now.
connecting, I guess. I was using it as a kind of showcase.
So we literally connected via social media, even then.
Not with a lot of people, though. I didn't really connect with a lot of people through social.
Because there weren't so many people. Not like now.
Yeah,
horticulture.
True.
Was horticulture slow to take it on? I don't know.
No. I think everyone was slow to take it on, but horticulture's been really slow to really grasp it.
But I think it's really helped horticulture, because it is quite a lonely practice. Really. And I always say I wish that I had social media when I was younger, because I was quite lonely as kind of a teenager, growing my own herbs, and but I would have loved to have connected with like-minded people and feel like I wasn't such a weirdo for loving plants. I don't know.
I totally get what you're saying. I get that. But I'm thankful we didn't have social media because we have a balanced view of things.
I always think we're the golden generation because we know how to use the internet, but we also know how to speak to people in real life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, though? It really is that great balance.
Where are you at with it, Lee?
Yeah.
But right now, well, I think I've stated at the start that I hate it. I'm really thankful for it because it started my career and I got to meet you guys from it.
And tell us about, because people on the podcast might not know you.
Yeah, so
there might be just one or two that don't know you.
Yeah, so I now
cater for those.
I now do children's gardening.
Yeah.
And at the time when social media first started, I was just starting an allotment and I was just posting stuff on Twitter with my brother and just trying to get information. And it was a really good place at the time where people wanted to actually help you with stuff and not just have a go at you for spraying something wrong or digging up something.
Okay.
And actually, Jimmy saw us on social media, and then that's really how that whole Jimmy's Farm thing started. So without social media, Jimmy would have never seen what we were doing. I would have never really even knew about the whole world of
Twitter,
media.
Can I ask as well?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. And so none of this would have happened technically without social. I just, as I've got older, now feel that it can be it's always been a problem for me doing children's gardening because I'm trying to get parents to connect with their kids, and being a parent and knowing other parents, it's very easy to sit there scrolling while the kids are playing and that whole connection be lost. And so it's always been a difficult thing in my mind to keep posting and distracting people away from their family.
Okay, yeah.
But
you still have to inspire them at the same time.
You do have to,
plant the seed.
It's a really hard balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's for instance, TikTok now. I tried to get into TikTok and realised that you can get a lot of growth from that. Actually, for me personally, it's a big distraction.
What does that translate to, though?
But also for parents, if I'm addicted to this scrolling, other parents are going to be the same. And I've seen the effect that being on your phone can have on children, and just people and friends and people. Do you know what I mean? Us just sitting sometimes in a restaurant and someone's phone's in their hand, that distracts. That means that person is not important. That person you're sitting opposite is not important enough for you to be solely with that person. So it's a really hard balance, isn't it? But for me, I think it's just turned into more of a negative than when we first started. It was a positive.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you think it's a negative now, Michael? Where are you at with that?
I guess it's become a lot busier and more crowded. So what you said, in the old days when you then met Jimmy from Jimmy's Farm through social media, these days, you probably wouldn't notice each other because there's so much happening as well. And it's become all too busy and there's too many connections flying around all over the place. And whilst this can be good, I think it just means there's so much choice of people you can connect to, and it just makes your brain a bit frazzled sometimes. I don't know, but I've always used social media, and I wonder what you guys will say here for how you've used it. But I've always used it as a showcase, like a visual CV almost, and so I only ever really wanted to use it to then advertise to companies that I'd be someone they might want to work with, or kind of this and that. I was never really in it for the followers, as it were, because I don't believe it's ever about the numbers and I don't want to get more followers. I actually said to you, I didn't have dinner with you last night, Lee, but you actually watched me eat a pizza last night, and calamari, and roasted tomatoes.
They look lovely.
And we were talking about this a little bit last night, and it's kind of I saw my followers go up a bit recently because I put out some hydrangea reel that did really well, and you can't predict what is going to go well and what isn't. And then my followers kind of keep going up, and I'm saying, I don't like it, because then there's new people that are going to expect something of me. And I think that's the problem with social media. You lead yourself to believe that people expect something of you. And that's kind of a little bit dangerous as well, because I always feel like social media should be part of a mixed portfolio. And that's where it is my visual CV, but I also do things in real life. I communicate in real life, and it's just part of a portfolio, really. And I think it's dangerous when it becomes the only thing that you're using, because you need to be, on a practical level, more future-proof as well. Do you know what I mean?
What if social media imploded tomorrow?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to know that you can still carry on doing what you do. And I feel like I can. And almost, I feel like if it did, I'd be, apart from sad at losing some of my lovely photographs, I'd be happy.
Especially if you
about
added
it.
a sexy filter to
I
it.
would literally be like, do you get sexy filters?
No, I'm just
What?
thinking... No,
Is
but-
there?
Can you?
Wow.
Or can you?
Ow, what?
Ella's like, how can I be sexy?
How can I be sexy? Yeah.
No, but if you remember in the early days of Instagram, it was really a thing to put cool filters on your pictures,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Really, in the
Yeah.
old days.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
old
right.
photographs are really overexposed.
Yeah.
They're like horrendous. If I posted them now, everyone would go like, "What are you doing?"
Arty, I think that like when I was younger, I was like really into art, and so when I looked right back to the first photos that I used to put on Instagram, they were really like just like me expressing myself in art. But I was telling Michael the other day, I went on holiday recently, and I had 10 days away from my phone and social media.
He
and
put it in a
emails.
drawer at home.
Perfect.
Left it at
Imagine
home, flew away. And I was telling him, and I'll tell you now, Ellen,
Thanks.
and you listener.
You should have been there last night watching me eat pizza.
We could have done this over pizza. That I really enjoyed it to begin with, and then on day 4 I was really, really depressed. Like I felt, and I wasn't sure. I was on holiday and I should have been enjoying myself. And the reason was because I got to see everyone else was using their phone. Like everything's heightened. You see everyone using their phone so much more. But I felt like I was missing out. Like
FOMO.
yeah. Don't get me wrong, I got over it by day 6, but I felt I couldn't work out what this feeling was, and I put it down to just not having that device in my hand. And so I don't want to be like negative on social media, because I think it's really amazing for like linking people together, and that's one reason I love LinkedIn.
And inspiring
actually.
people
I like
to
LinkedIn.
join horticulture.
I spend so much more time on LinkedIn because it's still got that connecting
I like
side
that.
of things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just don't like oversharing so much anymore. Like perhaps I think that I remember when I used to share my entire life, and now I just feel like literally down to the point that I've got a small garden in my back garden that is just for social media. That's the only thing I want to share about
like
my
a
life.
set almost,
Yeah.
because this is your career and you're showcasing what you can do for children's gardening. So that is
I just
your
want to inspire people.
profession. Yeah.
Right in that spot.
I do remember someone who I know saying to me, "Ellen, you must spend all day and all night just doing plants." And I'm like, why would you assume that? And he said, well, because that's what I see on your social media. I'm like, but I
so
don't
mad
post when
with
I'm out
that,
with my
yeah.
mates, or when I've gone to the cinema, or when I'm hanging out with my mum, or like all the other things that aren't related to plants or nature, which is this other aspect
Well,
of life.
I said that to Lee last night. I was like, people think they know everything about you, but they really only know 5% or something.
That you like plants.
So bizarre, yeah.
And pizza and calamari, yeah.
Because everyone knows that now. You certainly do.
But I kind of want to ask you, Lee, almost like chronologically, like when you loved social media, what did you love about it? What caused you to then not love it as much? I won't say dislike. And then how you feel about it now.
Okay, so
Can you tell us that
I
in
can.
stages, please?
So
Yeah.
I think when I first started, it was beautiful. It was connecting me with people, and I was sort of, it started off my career, right? And I loved it. I loved that side of it. I got to meet you two from it. We would have never really crossed paths without it. And then I loved it all the way up until, if I'm honest with you, until about 2020. And I'd really gone through a rough patch in my life, and I really delved into it really heavily, because I think, because I was telling you the other day about like loneliness. I think if you're feeling lonely, social media can be a real big like support, basically.
Dopamine and
Yeah, I
such.
get that.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes that without social media I wouldn't have got through that period. But coming out of the back of that, I don't know, I just very slowly realised how it disconnected me from real life people.
Yeah.
And being able to see as well, again, talking about families and stuff, how that can happen within a family structure. Like my whole family structure had to change because I needed to come away from that world to connect with my own family more. And so that's why I think that now it's not a hatred, it's just that I feel like people maybe put too much emphasis and weight on their life within social media and forget being with people and spending time with people.
But how do you now use it in a healthy way, would you say?
So for me, I don't have social media on my phone anymore, which is like the most beautiful thing ever, because it doesn't mean I'm sitting there scrolling. If I want to be part of a moment, like literally going back to that whole Snowdon trip that we just did, I didn't use my phone. I just filmed bits as I went along, documented it, and then later on I got home, edited it and put it up, and then I can share that way. I think the biggest thing is make social media, my biggest advice is make social media work for you, don't make it work for, what am I trying to say, Ellen?
Because don't make it what you think other people are doing or what they're expecting of you. Just make it what you do.
Your thing.
You don't owe it or the people that follow you anything at the end of the day.
I always think, I know you should never, I always say, just stay in your own lane. You don't, and in a positive way. Do you know what I mean? And not also, as if someone's saying, stay in your own lane, but just stay in your own lane. I do not care what trends are, what other people are doing. I don't care if someone's got 1 million followers or 10 followers. I'm just doing my thing as and when I please. I also schedule, so I'm not in it all of the time. So I just schedule the posts throughout the week, and then that's it. Do you know what I mean? That's done. I have totally turned social media on its head for me recently. I'm not, and I wonder if it's also because we've been on it a really long time. Do you burn out a bit, or you see it a bit different? You don't have all this gusto of wanting more followers or getting involved in little spats that go on behind the scene, or doing all the trends. Just do you.
Before you say anything, Mark, I just want to say, I wonder.
I don't say anything.
And before you go on, I also wonder, and without being ageist to us three, I wonder if as we mature and get older, that is part of it. Because there's a lot of young people that really are in their early 20s that are really so involved in it. Maybe as people we've very slowly changed and matured into actually these connections of us sitting here speaking in the podcast, but chatting to each other mean more to us than those just little dopamine. What's the word?
Dopamine hits.
Every time someone likes your post, you go, oh yay! I'm just, oh that's nice now. But I think other people are like, I've got why haven't I got likes? I've got more likes. Do you know what I mean? And it's like this up and down. Where I'm completely
maybe it's like a cycle of progression, because kind of the people that are more the up and coming influencers now, you can see maybe that's just not our world anymore, because we've moved on to different types of work, but they're obviously then appealing to people that are feeling then inspired to get into horticulture. And those newbies, in a new build garden or this and this, wouldn't be inspired by us, because we're doing a different set of work now. So I think it's almost like maybe every few years you kind of pass on the baton to the next kind of generation of
succession,
influencer,
isn't it?
Which is a different style of social media. I do wonder a little bit though.
Within horticulture, you've got this. It's an industry, and on social media, if you're posting about gardening, the people who are seeing it are the gardeners. So that means that we've built this lovely community of gardeners, and we come to the shows like here today at Glee, and you can see everyone, and that's really lovely. But is it really inspiring other people? Because if you're on Instagram, for example, and you're not looking for gardening, you're not going to see gardening. You will only see what it is that you want to see. So I feel a bit like horticulture
gets a feeling you want to see.
Horticulture has become a bubble within itself on social media.
I don't know.
I don't know if anyone else really sees it, if that makes sense.
You are right.
Maybe not now. Maybe in 2020 when people were seeking out new projects, I guess, and that kind of feeling.
Not now, because there's so much of it. There's so much
also,
content.
I don't like how social media works. It gets you suddenly in a lane and it keeps you there. And it's maybe I'll click on something to do. Well, at the moment, I get so much to do with pickles. Because once I probably clicked on some gherkin picture. And now it thinks that I want to have stuffed pickles. I want to have pickles.
Click on
I don't know what he's searching for.
I don't know where to go with this.
But I'm not even that into pickles. Do you know what I mean? But Instagram thinks I am.
Okay.
And so it's kind of curating myself. There's a serious message behind this. Believe me.
I think one thing we as OGs, as you like to call us, we have to be really mindful of is that I think we all remember when we first got into the industry, there was a little, I at least in my own experience had a bit of pushback from what I call the old guard. And as OGs of social, I feel like we still need to and that's why it's good you're doing this podcast on both sides of things, you're seeing both sides of it, but still welcome people into the industry in a
100%.
way.
The industry needs these people, and social media is a way to shout about, you know, what you're doing, your brand or your whatever, just trying to get people to enjoy gardening, whatever it is. So 100%, you know, do it if that's what you love doing, but just have a bit of a balance, because one day it could all implode and everything could change.
You always got to make yourself future-proof and have that mixed portfolio, I believe, really. So,
well, I think you need to have a goal. I think there needs to be an end goal rather than just getting more followers, more likes, all of that stuff. I think, and you know, for me, obviously, personally, I obviously push for school education, but you need to have something more substantial to what you're doing rather than just dancing, because at the end of the day, no, don't get me wrong, I've done all that sort of stuff when I was younger, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything. When I'm 80 years old, I'm not going to look back and go, remember that when I danced in the garden and it got 50,000 likes? Like, if I tell my grandchildren that when I'm 80, they're not going to give a monkey.
Yeah, but that's also to look at the other side. That's also specific to you. Like, some people might not be worried of these things that then they're going to remember in years to come, and kind of like, and also there's space for frivolity.
But what I'm saying is
that's a cool word, frivolity.
I've not heard that word before. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, like, social media is not going to be something you're going to look back and be. There needs to be something behind what you're pushing for, like something that you want. If you're trying to inspire people, is dancing.
If inspiring is your aim,
we are
or maybe you're just having fun with it.
Doing something that we just said about earlier on, and that is assuming that those putting content out there in the bucket loads don't have something else going on in their life. Do you get what I mean? We're assuming what we see is what we see, but we don't know, because that's the same as what I said. People just assume that I'm always doing plants.
There's a lot of assumptions with social media, which is the biggest illusion ever.
You're just assuming that that's what they do, and there's not other stuff going on.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, and I think this thing, like, I think life is very, very pressured now, and because so many things happen, and so many people then, you know, this is partly to blame social media, people then announcing and this and then new projects and blah. We all feel like we always have to have some new notable project or something that we've got a mission or blah, blah, blah. But maybe you don't need a mission, you're just having a laugh. Do you know what I mean? And that is also okay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do you. That's the thing. You do you. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing.
But there's always this pressure like, oh, you know, you need to have a podcast, a blog, or this or that. And it's kind of like,
for a podcaster, you don't have to speak over there quite a lot.
I was going to say, you always
it's a nightmare, isn't it?
What do you mean?
You're a nightmare.
Well, I'm just relaxed.
But it's here.
Sorry. Well, I talk fairly loudly, so okay. Cool, but no, this has been a really nice chat, because I wanted to discuss this stuff for a while, and I think we're going to get two very different sides to it as well.
Yeah, I'll be really interested to hear the rest.
Maybe three.
Totally.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Lee.
No, thanks for having me. I really appreciate you asking.
Oh, no worries.
Do you?
No, I actually do. I honestly do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cool. So we spoke to Lee Connolly, Skinny Jean Gardener, about social media, and we had a very different view to what I think we're about to get, talking to Kelly Fitch, our daily home, who we've met through social media. We only met for the first time, I think, at Gardeners World Live, maybe this year.
Yes, this year, but I met you last year.
Hi, Kelly.
And you are, like, you know, it's easy for us. We've been around a lot of years, and we kind of sometimes get a bit jaded with, like, social media. It's like, oh, what are we doing with this? Do we need to do that? Should we do that? And, like, where's it going to go next? What's going to happen? But I think your whole career has changed through social media. You're now working with it. You've got a nice big account, lots of respect out there. You do fun stuff. And we just wanted to get your angle on social media, which I think will be super positive and wonderful.
Absolutely, that's
and
me.
So
Kelly is the dancing queen. She's like the gardening dancing queen of socials.
It's my happy place, and I think that's what I try to do. I embrace it. I think I get happy feet when I step into the garden, and hence why I dance.
Tell us about take us right back to when you first started. You started on Instagram. Do you use any other platforms?
No, so I only use Instagram. So this started for me in COVID when I first started into gardening. This is going back in the day when Instagram was pictures only. There was no reels.
It was where you use it for filters. That's what I remember.
And then over the years, it sort of got bigger, and the trends changed. So we're constantly, I think, changing and adapting to ourselves to these changes. So then obviously the video side all came out, but it was my escape. I ran a business. I was working all the time, so it was the place for me to escape and just be me and escape from the madness. So not so long ago my business took a turn and I decided to close it, and I used then my content creating side of Instagram to take me on a new career journey, which I've been in now for 4 or 5 months. So it's been very, very interesting, and I'm so lucky that I'm in this world now of content creating and using what I love. I've had a marketing background, but being able to push this further now on Instagram. But I think some people, they're chasing the algorithm all the time, and for me it's not about that. You know, I post what I love. My page is my journey, and this is what I post about.
Authenticity.
And and I don't want to be changing me and my style to meet the algorithm. So for me, I embrace what I love and I post that, whether anyone wants to see that or whether Instagram likes it or not.
But do you feel a pressure to keep to that? Because if you're then like, I want to get seen, and it is like, even, I create content for businesses sometimes. I need it to be seen by more people. Do you know what I mean? How do you bust through that and stay authentic?
I think
because it must be hard from time to time.
It is, but I think the genuine people that you meet through Instagram, they're the people I want to connect with. I've hit the algorithm a few times. My reels have been very lucky and they've dropped, and my followers went up very quickly, but this didn't mean that those people connected with me. They didn't spend that time to talk to me. So I would rather have less interaction on that post and have genuine people follow me and actually be inspired by what I do. So I think that we are living in this world, we're constantly people are constantly living in this algorithm, but my message to people is just be you. People will love that more, and when you start changing to that, everyone looks very samey.
Oh, totally.
It can be very frustrating for people though who post and then don't get Instagram doesn't push it out.
But maybe they just need to be brave and be themselves.
But even the people who I can't really say names because that would be really unfair, but I know somebody who posts some really awesome content. She's been on socials maybe 3 or 4 years, since COVID as well, and she gets really upset because actually the stuff what she's putting out is really good quality stuff, but people aren't seeing it. And so then I've seen her at shows and she's just like, but no one sees it. And then when I show them, they're like, oh wow, that's amazing, but why is no one seeing it? Do you know what I mean? And that must be so frustrating. That must be so frustrating. But it's also
the quality of the eyes. It's not the quantity of eyes that see it necessarily.
That's
Although it depends what is she looking for, what will satisfy her big number of views, or to translate to sales or bookings for her business.
It would be
we're
bookings.
all there for different reasons, aren't we?
She does print work, graphic work, so it would be that kind of thing. And I just think that's a real shame. Do you know what I mean?
I think from a business side of view, I've been there with my business, we are having to jump on the trends to get out there. So you're having to do that. With me being myself in the world I'm in, I just a believer that I need to show people what I'm about, and this is it. So I'm not. I do jump on the odd trending reel, don't get me wrong, but it has to fit within my style. And I think this is where people lose themselves within this world of Instagram. They lose what they're about, and they lose what the message is that they want to get across. I think you can get put under pressure sometimes, and I have seen big accounts go under that pressure, but then you have to stop and think about what is it you want out of this post. It is great having high followers, don't get me wrong, but I'm not saying every one of those are my friends, so I'd rather have 10,000 and I genuinely know them.
And I think if you're also looking for work with different companies, even micro-influencers are really strong now, do you know what I mean?
And that's how I started. I was a micro-influencer, I was working with brands.
It's not always about numbers.
No.
But brands do go for big numbers. They do. They
but I
tend to go for the big accounts.
think they're opening their eyes a bit here and there to it. Yeah. But, do you ever feel like, because, you know, we talked to Lee, and Lee, like, you know, in the early days when we were all on social media, like with Ellen and Lee and I, like, he loved it, and then he kind of went through a period where he then found it difficult, and now he's kind of not such a fan.
Yeah.
Do you, in posting to social media, do you ever feel compelled, or is there anything that kind of like then, do you go through periods of not enjoying it or not wanting to post, or do then you feel you have to, or do you feel accountable, or a lot of questions in one there, but I think you get where I'm going. So.
They're just going bam.
He's definitely on my energy level, this is. So for me, I am a constant poster, and it is about posting constantly, but then saying that, like this weekend,
because you want to, or because you feel you have to?
Because I've just got content and I think it's relevant, so I drop it on.
Okay.
It's what I've always done, so I've got into a routine of it.
Do you stick to days, times?
No, I don't stick to times.
You just do it whenever you want to do it. Good for you.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not,
I love that.
And I don't hide. You know, I have posts that don't do amazing. I don't hide the likes. I don't do any of that. I don't delete it.
And that kind of feels healthy, actually.
Yeah, it does.
Because then you're just using it authentically.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I am about. And I think, again, me and Lee had this chat at the weekend, because obviously we've been together, and I actually had an Instagram
Do you need to explain why?
If you didn't know, we walked Snowdon for charity. It was a big thing, but again, it's down to Instagram that we all got together. These things wouldn't have happened without social media.
So many good plus points.
And you know, some of us hadn't met, some of us had met, and I think it's like your pocket friends become real all of a sudden. They're in front of you, but they understand you, you're all on the same wavelength. But yeah, I took an Instagram break and it felt great. So that's what I mean. I post a lot, but sometimes I just take myself away, because I feel I work. It's gone a bit different for me, because when I ran my business and it was my escape and I was dropping it on, but now I spend so many hours on the social media, it can become a bit, I need to get away from this.
Because you're creating content. We should just explain that.
So I can do anything from filming, editing, looking after companies' social media side, so I'm flicking in and out of it all the time. So I have had that wave of that mental health wave where I end up then forgetting about myself because I'm concentrating on other brands. But I've tried to just embrace what I love and keep that going, because I get so excited about it, and I think your passion shows. So it is just me now on this little crazy journey of meeting new people and being inspired by them and not feeling threatened by people, because again, this is what social media can make people do.
It makes people competitive.
Yes, very.
Definitely,
And
which is totally unnecessary.
And more of a content question, because you're talking about being authentic, but I think maybe the pressure on some people is that they see someone, you know, like, I don't know, pruning a laurel bush, and then they feel like, I've got to show people how to prune a laurel bush.
I know where we're going with this.
Or lavender. Lavender's a better example.
Lavender. If I see another, this is how to prune lavender video on there.
I'm going to do it for you later. I'll tag you in.
When you've been on social media, for example, for as long as we have, which is coming up to 10 years, and every year you see 50, this is how to prune lavender. It does get to the point where you're like, oh my God.
Get ready for lasagna planting. That's the next few weeks.
I don't do it. I'm not. I have done the odd couple of pots, but it's not my thing. And with me, I'm not a professional gardener, so as much as I do these how to do this video, I can't go any further than bigger and better, because I haven't got that knowledge. So for me, I've had to make my own little style out of it, what I can do. This is it for me, and this is the reality. And I've done a lot of posts before on the shame bit of your garden, or I've planted stuff and it's not grown, and this is the reality and the raw side of it, what other people don't show you. Well, my garden is a bit like me. It's a bit crazy and wild. It's got gaps like my journey has, and it represents me, and I think people's gardens should do that as well.
That's probably why people resonate with you.
We've been having that conversation for a lot of years as well. I can remember maybe 7 or 8 years ago, Life at 24, Annabelle Padwick, who's
27.
27, yes.
Is it?
Yeah. Annabelle, who does a lot of social and therapeutic horticulture. She done a hashtag years ago, which is like My Real Garden or something like that, a long time ago, and people did do it, but so people don't really want to do it. Do you know what I mean? They'll do it once or twice, but they don't really want to do it. They still want the pretty pictures. Do you know what I mean? So that's been something that's been going on for ages.
You know, I've got major gaps in my garden right now, but I haven't done it for an Instagram post of look at my perfect garden. I'm leaving it, you know, and that,
totally.
you know, I'm not running off and getting. I have been inspired before on Instagram and I've jumped on bandwagons, don't get me wrong, but then I've just stopped and thought, I'm like, what am I doing? You know, this isn't what I want. Again, I know Hayden, she's got a hashtag out there for the not tidy bits of your garden and stuff, and I think sometimes we have to show the real and raw side of our lives and stop being an Instagram picture perfect.
Totally.
So for me, this is what now I'm embracing and I'm bringing, because we've got to stop living in this world of, again, fighting with the algorithm and living in this perfect life. Just be you. Really, that is my biggest message to anyone. They will see you, they will love you, because someone's got, I don't know, looking okay, you know, just be you, you know.
This is really refreshing. I got one final question to ask you though. How would you feel if Instagram shut down tomorrow?
For me, my business would be gone.
Okay, so that's not good.
So that's not good. But on another side, on a personal side, it's not the end of the world.
We need to think about that.
Yeah, because it crashed. It crashed last year.
Yeah.
I think it crashed for 3 or 4 days. Well, I was in the one of those where it did crash.
Because Twitter has kind of died. Do you know what I mean?
Use Twitter. I barely use TikTok.
And that could happen to another platform.
Yeah.
And you need to be aware.
I'm not a YouTuber. But again, when it shut down, don't get me wrong, I hit this panic wave of, oh my God. But then it made me stop and realise that we're living too much in the world of society and we're relying on it. So I do have these escape times where I go away, I have no mobile phone. So for my business side of things, it won't be healthy. But for me, you know, if you connect with the right people, you have their mobile number anyway. So it's not like you'd never see them again.
Yeah.
So
interesting what you just said, because Lee was here earlier talking about he went on holiday for 10 days without his phone.
Yeah.
You've just said, because to me you're like almost like the opposite of Lee, because you're very much into social media, you really enjoy it, but you just said you went away without your phone.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I've done it before, so I'll put it away. I'll put it away. You like, I am.
Does that take a lot of discipline? Because I think I would find that difficult.
Oh no, I love it.
I don't even feel like a heavy user.
At the first, it was hard. It was itchy. It was like all of a sudden I was going through some cold turkey stage because we're always on our phone. It's always in my hand. But then once I'd overcome that, it was like
it's like religion.
Yeah.
It's like the old days.
Go back to a Nokia with no camera on it. You know, I'm giving me age away now.
No, I don't want to go that far back. I can remember going on in this little cabin camping, and they had a wooden box which actually said, "Put your mobile phone in here and just enjoy your stay." And I was like, "That is so cool."
It's because I travel quite a lot on my own, like on different business trips and here and there. When you're on your own sitting somewhere, it's almost harder because that's part of your kind of like, and also we start to rely on it like a lot of like, you know, using it for a map or music or like, you know, this and this.
But it's a social side, I think. Like I like to stay, like I have elderly parents that I check in on every day, like that kind of thing.
And there's
but it's the social media side. I can just go, I schedule posts frequently, and then I don't have to do anything. Do you know what I mean? For days.
You ghost poster.
Ghost poster. I'll come back to it like in a few days, and then I'll go through everything.
And this is where again Instagram is giving you the message. You need to be active. You need to be constantly commenting. You need to be interactive. No, you don't.
You don't.
You use it how you want to use it.
This is
and
great.
stop listening to the rules. It's your page.
Exactly.
You post what you want to do.
You don't owe Instagram anything.
No.
Rules are for
and to that effect, you don't actually owe your Instagram followers anything.
If you are
either.
chasing the algorithm, you need to think about what it is you're doing.
Because
totally. And what message you're trying to get across. Because all these trending reels don't fit in my style. Or if one does, don't get me wrong, I will jump on it because it works with what I do. But I don't jump on every single one of them.
That's amazing.
But with gardening, I got into yoga. I got into meditation, and all three of them connect with me. So I am one of these where if I go on holiday, I want to go in the middle of nowhere where I don't see anyone, so I don't have signal on that note, so it cuts me off automatically. So I think it is important, it is healthy to have a break every now and then. This is someone who takes millions of photos, millions of videos all the time, but it is a healthy thing to do. And it's a reset.
Yeah. Reset yourself.
I think this has been such a cool chat and so different to our chat with Lee, but like very positive as well. And really, thank you.
Thank you
for your time
for
today,
having
darling.
me.
I hope you enjoy the rest of Glee. Where
I've
we are
just
today.
arrived and I've been poured in, but I'm off to go on my
No worries,
ventures,
thank you.
priorities.
Thank you.
I was like, you come to record a podcast. Yes, you are.
I'll come back, I've only just arrived.
I'll see you later, darling. Okay, so we've got our third guest on the podcast today. We talk about social media. Where does social media go next for gardening and horticulture? And we've heard from Lee, Skinny Jean Gardener. He's given us kind of like, maybe the negative edge of it.
Just like a different.
Realistic for him. Like he was in love with social media, then he kind of fell out of love of it, and now he has a different relationship with it, which is interesting. We've also talked to Kelly Fitch, our daily home, who's told us about her journey with social media and how she sees more of the positive side of it, and now, relies on that for a lot of work as well.
And she's really embraced it in her own style.
And what I think we're going to get now is an in-between view, I believe, from Kate.
Hello.
Welcome to the podcast. So nice to have you here, first time.
That's an assumption, Michael, though. We don't know what Kate's got to say about it yet.
We had a brief conflab in the corridor earlier, and
I kind
she
of
might
do
be
sit
in
in the
between,
middle.
but let's see.
I think I do sit in the middle of when it comes to social media. It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, tell us about you first. What do you do? What are you famous for?
I am a garden designer, and I'm probably most famous for doing Gardeners World Live on there.
Yeah, cool.
And I love plants. I'm a plant geek. I'm a tropical plant geek mainly. I absolutely love anything that's a bit weird and wonderful.
You've done some really cool stuff, like BBC Gardeners World. You've done beautiful staging, because I was hosting the houseplant stage, and it was all beautiful and purple, and you have some awesome wacky, like the propagation
the
globe.
Yeah,
that was awesome. You do some really cool things.
I like to think outside the box. I don't like to be restrained.
I've
by
admired
what
so much of your work.
I like that.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So on social media, what is your tag?
At KM Garden Designs.
At KM Garden Designs. Yeah. Right. Okay. Tell us.
Yeah, tell us about your social media journey. Like, when did you start? You obviously use it as a business showcase.
Yeah.
Did you always use it that way? How do you feel about it? Yeah.
So I started off by just posting a few pictures that made me happy, really, of plants, namely.
When was that?
Probably 2019, when I started studying horticulture. I wanted to put pictures up of all of the bits and pieces I was doing because I found it fascinating. And then, so after 2019, I just slowed down on the social media side of things, just because I wanted to focus on actually learning the skills and the trades and all of that sort of stuff. And then maybe last year, I think, was when I started to post regularly and try to be a content creator, even though I hate that.
I hate being called it.
You hate being it or being called it?
Being called
Which one?
it. I'm not a content creator. I put
it's almost like the blogger of our times, because to be a blogger like 10, 15 years ago was like...
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
I'm not a content creator. I am a garden designer, really, and a plant geek. So I just put on what I feel happy about and what makes me happy. And so if there's something in the garden that looks shiny, then I'm going to put that on social media and hope that people enjoy it. And if I've done a project I'm proud on, I'll put that on social media.
Super nice.
And I try to work it in that way and keep a balance between it being work and a little bit personal, so people can get to see my personality a little bit. So when they come to employ me, clients will go and check on my social media and they can see what I do and what they're getting themselves into, really.
I was going to say, that must be important for you, because if, say, someone is looking for a garden designer, honestly, the first thing we all do for any service, really, is we go and see what the social media is all about, right?
Yeah,
so,
even over Google these days.
I genuinely
like
go to social media
within Instagram instead.
To see what they've done. I want to see their pictures.
Yeah.
I want to see the good stuff that they've done before I even perhaps contact them. Do you know what I mean? And say, can you quote? So for you, it's like a shop window, isn't it? For
exactly
potential
that.
clients.
And it's a potential way for them to contact me, and it's not so intrusive as phoning someone. I think some people get overwhelmed by that now.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
just to phone someone out of the blue, go, you know, can you come and work for me? Whereas on social media, you can kind of like a few posts, you can send a DM every now and then, and I've had clients come from social media who've specifically said that they enjoy my social media, which is why they want me to help with their project, because they like my aesthetic and the way that I work, and I'm not very sensible, I'm kind of stupid a lot of the time,
and you like purple,
and I very much like purple.
But what is also then your approach then? Do you then, I don't know, it seems like such a cheesy question to ask, but do you have like a strategy when it comes to social media? Do you feel compelled to post because you know it's also business as well?
I don't have a strategy. My strategy is post every day because someone told me that I should do that.
Okay. And I like you hear advice, you take it on board.
You take it on board.
That's cool.
I don't have a strategy other than whatever I put on there, I want to make sure I'm proud of it, and if I'm not proud of it, then I'm not going to post it. So that's kind of my strategy, really. I try and post as often as I can, once a day if possible, if I'm not overwhelmed with it all. But it does get very overwhelming, and the pressure to do it, you know.
But where's that pressure from? Yourself?
From me.
Yeah.
From me. Because I can see like my engagement numbers going down, and I'm like, I need to keep those up, and I need to do this, and I need to make sure I put some stories on to keep it engaging, and I put myself under the most amount of pressure, I think, more than anybody else doing it to me.
Because that having more engagement means you're likely to be in front of more eyes for potential business, of course.
Yes.
So,
yes, and potential sponsors for show gardens, etc. as well, which is the number one.
But also, like, it's not always about numbers. It's not the quantity of eyes, it's the quality of eyes.
Well, yeah,
well,
exactly.
maybe.
My little
and you can't
community,
judge that.
I've got such an amazing little community on Instagram, and I know that they all support me wholeheartedly, and I've met some amazing people, yourselves included, through social media. And it's just so lovely to be able to kind of connect with people that I would never have normally connected with. And I value that friendship because I don't have plant geek friends where I live. So
I said to Ellen earlier, I'd love to have had social media when I was like 10 years old. Because I love plants, and I knew nobody else that loved plants, and I would have felt less alone. As well,
and that's it. And gardening, I think, can be quite a solitary activity. So to be able to share that side of my personal garden with people, it brings me joy because I'm never at home, so I don't get to enjoy my garden other than when I'm in it gardening, and to share it with other people makes me happy. And I get nice comments about all of my weird tropical plants and stuff, which is lovely.
But I feel like with your content, like, there's some content out there that gets a bit samey, but yours is always distinct and different.
Like we were saying earlier on, like joking about the fact that if we see one more video about how to prune a certain plant at a certain time
it's
of
boring,
year,
isn't it?
Kate's got one scheduled for 5 p.m. today.
Unschedule it, Kate. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Like, I'm just, when you've been on social media for a lot of years, every spring, every autumn comes around, and you see the same videos over and over again. Do you know what I mean? And that does, I do start to get like bored,
but
totally. Your stuff is cool. Like, you are literally showing what you're doing, and some cool different plants and different garden designs that other people aren't doing.
Exactly. And I think my niche is kind of a little bit unusual in that I do a little bit of everything within the industry, from like tool maintenance all the way to cottage gardens, tropical gardens, events and shows and stuff like that. So there's always something different, and that's mainly because I get bored very, very quickly. So I have to keep things kind of rolling, really, and I have to do something different and push myself to do weird things like come into the NEC to be on a podcast.
I mean, why not?
Well, exactly. I can think of weirder things to do, darling.
I know. We don't want to know about that.
But what do you feel like, what do you think the future of social media is in terms of gardening, like for you, but also for society? I think sounds very deep to say society.
It's very deep. I don't know about society. I don't know how they're going to kind of form that way. But I know for myself, I think I've just started doing online consultations for gardens. And I remember when I first started gardening, I just wished that I had somebody to go, why is this plant dead? What have I done? Why is it not like this? And it's just that kind of bridge between having a gardener or a garden designer and just somebody to go, what is happening here? What is this? So I do the consultations online, and you can kind of show me your gardens or your house plants or whatever it is, and I'll try and advise to the best of my ability. So that kind of avenue, and then that leads to, other projects. So people might ask just a question and then decide actually we need a bit more help, and I can do a gardener's day trip where I go out to their garden and troubleshoot with them, and then potentially do designs as well thereafter from that. So that's the kind of way that I think my social media will go, and I will try and push those kind of consultations maybe a little bit more, but I'll always do shiny things because it makes me happy.
Yeah, if it makes you happy, do it.
It's really nice. You're really using it as a platform for business, but with you know a big helping of your personality.
A touch of Kate Sparkle.
Yeah.
Do you market your business outside of social media, or is it only social media?
No, only social media. I mean, I'm booked up now until the end of the year, and that is through, obviously, mainly through word of mouth, but also little bits of social media and little bits of kind of brand work and stuff like that. So it's tricky. But
when you say social media, are we talking only Instagram?
Yeah, only Instagram. Yeah. I did do TikTok for a while, but then I got so overwhelmed with having to do Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all of it. I just decided, let's just do Instagram. It's what I'm comfortable with. It's easier for me to kind of edit stuff on there, and I just focus on that one mainly, because I feel like that's where a lot of, you know, these big brands that are here today.
Yeah, for the brands, but maybe for like the garden design and like maintenance business, is Facebook then useful for
Facebook
that,
is good, and all of my posts automatically load onto Facebook.
Okay.
So I don't have to do any work as such.
So you have a presence there.
I have a presence there, and I don't get masses of kind of business from Facebook. But again, people will search on Facebook, particularly maybe the older generation might enjoy Facebook more than Instagram. So it's there if they want to see it. But I don't think I would ever go back to TikTok, just because I just feel like it's a very negative.
Feels like the Wild West for me. TikTok, the TikTok negative. I
found quite a bit of negativity on TikTok.
But Ellen, you've been using TikTok. Are you still?
But the thing is, I just take it as it comes. Like sometimes you get really stupid comments on TikTok, like really dumb. Like that don't even mean anything. It's just a comment that's just like someone sitting on their phone typing 2 words that means nothing. I just don't engage in it. Like, I'm doing me, and that's that. But the majority of people who I've met, there's a gardening community on, you know, TikTok as well that's really thriving and super lovely, you know. But that's just me. You know, you do what is good for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, what works for you. And as a business, you don't want to spend your time doing TikTok if you're not going to get any business from it. What's the point for you? That's why you are doing social media.
I find it difficult though to make to keep the balance between, I enjoy social media and it is a bit of an escapism for me, and it's kind of like that heterotopia and alternate reality. So I probably spend more time than I should on the internet on social media, when I should be doing other things, or I could be doing other things, like sorting my tomatoes out that are grown, or weeding my veg patch. And if it's a choice between social media or veg patch weeding, sometimes
you'll go social media.
I'll go social media.
But I guess you could say social media is partly then business, because you're networking for business.
Well, exactly. So this is how I sell it to myself. I tell myself.
This is how you sell it to yourself.
I need to work now. I can't possibly go and weed.
But the tomatoes need weeding as well.
They do. They do.
But do you ever feel then like you're browsing too much though?
I do. It's an addiction, I think, and it is something that you need to be mindful of. I've tried setting the parameters, you know, the limits for how long you sit on it, and that helps a little bit. But I find escapism is something that calms my brain down, because I'm quite a overactive person up in the dome.
So we were talking about this earlier of like, or maybe I was talking to Lee last night actually about different, like, over the last few months I've been like almost like investigating myself, like what is rest? You know what I mean? How do you relax? And I found, like, I've got this amazing book that gives you 10 different ways that they did a survey of how people rest. And, like, watching TV was one of them. And, like, watching TV is very passive. You're kind of, like, there. Is looking at social media not passive and kind of like, is that not rest of some time?
No, because you are still emotionally
so varied,
engaged in it. But also you are emotionally attached to it.
Because you know the people.
Because you know the people, or you know what's going on, or you're thinking, I could do that, or I could do that better. Oh my gosh, they've done that, I haven't done that. Like, it gets all of the emotions going. So it's not passive rest.
So would you say, like,
distraction?
It is.
But it's not passive rest.
And it's also a form of procrastination, isn't it? Which I am. So
Yeah, definitely.
And I wonder if there's anyone that actually like goes to the toilet without looking at it these days. Do you know what I mean?
Most of my stories come from when I'm doing a wee. Not of me doing a wee, but just like, oh, I've got 5 minutes
Aaron,
now.
imagine the content, you know.
And that should be on OnlyFans.
Oh my God.
Ellen, about twice a year, she says something that shocks me. That's the first one this year.
I think she'd have a whole new genre of people doing it.
Well, she had a bagel earlier and she licked out the hole.
Only because the avocado was falling through the hole, so I licked it. And then as we walked away, he was like, yeah, I saw you lick a hole. I was like, what?
Oh, wonderful. Ellen,
It all happens at Glee, doesn't it?
It does. You're
All
missing
happens
out
at
if you're
Glee.
not here.
can you do the closer, Ellen? I need to stop talking. No, this is so useful. We talked to 3 very different people that are using social media in different ways, with different feelings about it, and I think that's really quite enlightening.
Yeah,
really nice.
I'd love to know what our listeners think as well. So we'll have some posts online on social media, funnily enough, the Plant-Based Podcast, and come and tell us what you think about the episode and about social media yourselves.
Totally.
Thank you so much, Kate.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure as always.
See you again.
Thank you.
Hey, babe, you look like a hologram.
Do I?
Yeah. You look like... Is that a real background or not? Because you look like you're faking it.
That's really weird. No, it's not. Look, I'll move the laptop so you can see. It's a moss wall.
Oh, I remember you making that, yeah. I know you and Craft. You'll probably claim it was mindful, but I know that you probably lost your patience at least 14 times. Am I right?
14 is a vast exaggeration, but probably.
Well, Ellen, I'm exactly the same. I was making these tiny little plants from Nicole's jungle, and I made one, and I've got like 5 more to make, and I'm not sure I can face it. It's just like this. Like, I don't know, like this accuracy is not my bag.
It's in the detail,
It's
right?
hurt my hands as well. So.
Oh, it hurts your hand. Oh, bless you. That's so sweet.
Oh, dear.
Honestly, it didn't take me. It didn't get me to lose my patience, but it did take a lot longer than I thought. And recently, I've been very crafty because I organised a baby shower, and I was trying to do it on a budget, and everything recycled and upcycled and all of that good stuff.
Oh, nice.
So I was like getting ink pads to like print all of the names and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
And so I've been doing some mindful crafting.
Yeah, I think that craft is nice when you got the time. Do you know what I mean? As well, like I think, if I'm trying to like fit it into other stuff, then I'm kind of, because you really do need to slow down to a different speed, and it is. Yeah, I know I joked about it, but it is a kind of mindful practice as well. And
it is,
you know, and in my Michael 2.0, I see the value in mindful practices. So
Okay, well, this is a turnaround.
you know,
Things have changed.
You know, I'm a new woman. You know,
I know it. You are a new woman. I love it.
How's my face unfiltered? Because I have been at Face Gym this morning, just so you know.
Your face looks amazing. It looks like you've been to Face Gym.
Thank you. All right, Ellen, it's so obvious. But honestly, facial massage is so good because your nerve endings are all around your face and stuff, and it's really, it just feels amazing. Not just for uplifting your face, but just everything mentally and kind of your nervous system as well. So it's cracking, to be honest.
I love that you found all of these like mindful practices and doing all good stuff for your body and mind. It's awesome.
Oh, totally. And it's just, with these things, you never see an immediate result, as it were, but you know that overall, the bigger picture is that it's kind of going towards your whole feel-good factor, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Wow, that is such a cool coloured juice. What is that?
Oh, this is my morning green juice I'm actually really late drinking. It's celery, apple and spinach.
Nice. But, so I got back on a good diet this week because I have to say, if you want to have a spoiler on this podcast,
Japanese food is not healthy. All right, I need to put it out there.
Why is it not healthy? What food are you eating when you're there? Because like you've just got back from Japan, basically. You've been gone a couple of weeks, haven't you? So you were at the Bakura English School, and then you went to Tokyo. Is that right?
Yes. Well, but I have to say, I really want to credit UK here, because when you're on the road in the UK, like even going into a BP garage or M&S or Waitrose and this stuff, you can really stock up on nice, healthy stuff, like maybe a box of vegetables or tomatoes or like fruit. Obviously salads, wraps. I love they do these bean salads. I absolutely love as well. But like on the road, I find in other countries it can be quite difficult to get good food on the go.
I really agree.
Sorry?
I really do agree. Yeah.
Totally. Like, don't get me started on US. But like, and it's not just, it's about then trying to avoid processed things as well. And like in Japan, it's kind of fun, and like a lot of the food is very interesting, exciting, but you really have to look past the processed stuff. And once you do, you're very limited in maybe a few packets of fruit or this and that. And so it's all beautiful and tasty and exciting, but a lot of stuff is either deep fried or kind of like some, they had these chicken sticks that are like reformed, or like, these things when they reshape a prawn to look like another prawn.
Yeah.
Things like that. And people are not eating sushi on every street corner, because sushi is more, it's amazing that it's an export really, because sushi is more of a kind of almost slightly special occasion, kind of like only going to use fresh fish, for this. So it's not readily available in packets and stuff. You actually go to a sushi place to have it. So it's not like our Tesco little kind of sushi things that we see. Like what you're more likely to see is onigiri, which is like we see them here from time to time, these little kind of like triangles of rice that have some filling in the middle and wrapped in seaweed that you kind of eat on the go like a sandwich. But having said that, there are so many sandwiches in Japan, honestly. That's another thing people don't realise. They're mad for sandwiches, and they're always this gluey white bread as well. They're like, in UK, we're quite progressive with like wholemeal, flatbreads, wraps, but generally there you've got this kind of white sticky bread with... Yeah. It's all delicious, don't get me wrong, but it's not necessarily the feel-good foods.
It's interesting, like the healthy food in England is more accessible than we give it credit for. It's only when we go overseas that we realise how accessible healthy food can be in England, for sure. Like even if we go on a road trip here in the US, there's tons of places you can stop that are fast food places, and you potentially get a salad maybe, but you can't just walk into a garage or a fuel station or something and get something healthy. There's nothing. It will all be junk food, and it will be probably white bread, and the bread is not good here. Like most people who I know who are in the US, say British and living here, and then they go back to England, the first thing they can't wait to have is literally a sandwich. So someone said to me, "What do you miss?" And I'm like, sandwiches. And when I come back to the UK, the first place I stop off if I'm driving back from the airport is M&S. Newmarket M&S.
Good sandwich, you mean?
Yeah, a nice, good, healthy sandwich and some fruit and some vegetables. You just don't do that when you're on the run here. So that's understandable.
I feel maybe English food is not necessarily exciting or tasty or blah blah, but you do have a healthy variety these days, and it is progressive, because I wonder like how you would get on in Japan with like being vegan as well, because I think with all the places I travel, like some of the best awareness is in UK, it really is. Yeah. And obviously welcome to comment on that.
I would probably
this
go
conversation,
to
you're allowed to speak now. Go.
I would have to.
Sorry.
Like, thank you so much. I would have to eat rice and seaweed for like a week. There's healthy options in America, totally. Like you can, especially there's like juice bars.
It depends in what area you are, right?
It does, but also if you know about it and you want it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to eat healthy, you absolutely can. And most people where we are in Charlotte, it's a great area for food, and lots of vegan food as well, which is really good. But you've got to kind of know that's what you want and then go and get it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in some countries it's just so not obvious that it's difficult to
totally
do that.
Yeah.
So
I find it so sad and tragic when you realise this, that for the people that live in these countries, this is the food they're used to eating, and they don't imagine anything outside of that.
But what's really the health like?
Not good for them at all.
Yeah, like say in Japan, for example, what's the life expectancy? It's quite high. Like life expectancy in Japan is high. So
well, I'm just talking about fast food, convenience food, this sort of fun stuff. But generally, the diet is, good, But it's, I don't know. It's funny. Oh my God, the balcony! Look,
what about it?
They're building some apartments over there, and they're taking a balcony up on a crane. How cool's that? Can you see it?
Well, not quite because of the light.
Balcony in the air.
Balcony in the air. Who would have thought?
What can you do with it? That's really crazy. Obviously, I have to take a picture.
Of course you do, and we'll see that on your Instagram stories in approximately 30 seconds.
Love the balconies. Oh my God.
What I'd like to know a little bit more about though is what you do when you're in Japan, because we see you obviously on Instagram, and you're at the Bakura English Garden School, and What do you do? What's it like? What's the culture of gardening like in Japan?
Well, you've probably seen some of the pictures of like the creations that are really, probably the closest comparison would be, I don't know if you know Harriet Rycroft. She does did amazing containers for Witchford for many years. Probably the nearest comparison is that, really kind of packing a container full of plants. More than the RHS would say you're allowed to put in a pot. This is fun. This is decorating. This is flower arranging with living plants. And it's just amazing. And the irony is I was brought there to teach the students like English style of planting, but English style of planting is not what they want to do, because they want to create these lovely textured containers. And they have a very exciting range of plants available, so much nicer than our fillers that we have this time of year. So straight away, they've got lovely stuff to work with. And it's just incredible what they create. And some of the containers, literally, they look like a painting on a wall. It's just incredible. And there's one lady, she's probably like the most experienced student there, Akui-san, and she creates the most amazing textural containers. And I saw last time she's got a bit of a method to do this. So you can't do this with all plants, but if you've got, say, a plant like they were using a lot of Alternanthera, which is like this really lovely little foliage plant. You're getting lots of different colours now, and things like Calicifalis, Muhlenbeckia, this kind of textured plants. She will look at the plant and then see if she can split the plants that are in the container. So maybe you could, from the container, split that into 4. So then she's got 4 separate strands of plant. And then she's binding different plants together and then actually tying them up with string around the roots and then planting that as like a group of 10 plants with all these different strands of plants and textures. And that is how she makes her completely textured container with all of this kind of intermingling. It is incredible. I think in UK we would always be too purist about this and be like, you're going to damage the roots, or you've got to give the plant space to grow, or how's it going to, have that longevity? But it works. You just got to relax a bit about the rules and just think a different way. And they do that at Barracuda, and it's just amazing. And that container's not going to look exactly the same for 5-6 months, but we're not planting for that reason. We're arranging with living plants, and it probably costs the same as a bouquet of flowers, but it's probably going to last long. So
that's a really good point. We go and buy a bouquet of flowers, but if you plant something like that, you've probably got a few months out of that, like seasonal at least.
It's beautiful work. I absolutely love it. And like I say, I've learned from them over the years, and what they create is just incredible. And also added to that, they're not following any horticultural rules, because they're not designing this container for the future. They're designing it just to look good for that, maybe 5-6 week period. So you're going to mix Mediterranean style plant with something that likes shade or this or that. But It really breaks down the barriers. It means you can create something amazing. It really does.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're very
we're too stiff in UK for
we're
it.
too stiff about it in the UK but I think it's because we are very much like, oh, these are the rules. We must go. In all walks of life, we're kind of like it.
Yeah,
we never
no, you're absolutely right,
do we? Do you know what I mean? We never go, oh, well, I just try that, or I just be a little bit different. Like, that's a lovely way of doing something, because you're working with plants still, so you're having all that lovely mindfulness, but creating something beautiful. And a lot of those plants will survive. You might take them out the pot and plant them somewhere else, or pot them up into individual pots of their own, or whatever. It's not like they're all just going to die. It's just that container will have its day, and then you'll move on to do something else. I think that's lovely.
If you do like add a few kind of practical elements to it, and add like moisture retentive crystals, slow release fertilizer, then this container, I planted up some myself in my garden a few years back, and they last a lot longer than even I expected, Yeah.
I love that. That's something we could definitely learn here in the UK. Just step out of the box a little bit. Step out of the container a bit. Do something different. Break the rules.
Oh, but how are you, darling? You're in US?
I'm all good. I've only got back to the US a couple of days ago. So it's always that like couple of days transitioning back to like life in the US, and had a baby shower yesterday, which is what I said I was crafting for. So that went really lovely.
Congratulations, darling.
Yeah. Just to confirm.
The number of people that will mishear that bit.
I know. Just confirming. This is definitely not my baby shower. Way past that point now. It was for a friend, and we'd booked this kind of greenhouse out the back of a bar, and it was suggested to us, and we've been there before, but they'd redecorated it. So when we got there, they had all plants like ferns hanging up and macrame plants and things. And I had not known that, but I mean, it wasn't my baby shower, but if it was, I would have been very happy with it.
That's so cool. Oh wow,
it was lovely.
But there's maybe, how far are you from some of the destruction though, darling?
Well, we're in the city in Charlotte, so we're about 2 hours from where the destruction from hurricane hit the mountain area. So basically western North Carolina has been hit really bad. And it is bad. It is to the point of, they were saying that it's as devastating as Hurricane Katrina, which was obviously in New Orleans. It's wiped out towns, completely wiped out towns. And people have died, and animals, of course, and wildlife, and obviously the natural environment will have been hit, although I'm sure that will recover probably better than do. And roads in and out of some of the most beautiful parts of North Carolina are completely bust up. So you cannot go in, and some people still, all this time later, cannot get out. So they have to helicopter supplies in to some people, because ultimately this is a mountain area. You don't get hurricanes in mountainous areas. This is a completely freak occurrence.
And so why would...
I guess it's the way the weather moves, and often flooding goes down the valley. Do you know what I mean? Rather than
that was an exceptional.
No, it's a complete. Someone was saying it's like a 1 in 1,000 year freak occurrence.
I hadn't even thought of that. Wow.
Of course, then with climate change, does that mean it will be more frequent? I don't know. But it's still pretty bad up there. So you can't go in and out. It's there's a place called the Blue Ridge Parkway, which we go to every year. You drive along it, you see all the autumn leaves changing colour. It's absolutely stunning. People from all over America come to see it. Completely closed. Might not even be open until next year, autumn even. It is completely wrecked. So it's a terrible situation.
Because it's easy, you see it in the news, and then you never really hear the aftermath. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's this is the destruction, but what is the path to recovery after that? You'd never see that.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's obviously a lot of funds gone into sorting it, but it's a really difficult logistical issue. We're talking towns up mountains, where it's much more dangerous, and you can't get there apart from a helicopter. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a lot more tricky than some places. But then, of course, from the other side, there's another hurricane now about to hit Florida. But hopefully most people have had, everyone hopefully have had enough time to evacuate by now. But where we are, we're fine at the moment. And it was when I first got back here, I went onto our roof terrace. It was such a mess. Like, there's just stuff everywhere. And I said to my husband, oh my God, you could have at least cleared up. And he said, Ellen, we literally just had a hurricane. He was like, you can't really complain that there's
you still could have cleaned up.
There's plants everywhere. I was like, fair enough, that's true.
Bless you, my darling.
So yeah, things have been, blustery, but it was really no biggie where we are. So, but we are now coming into that lovely time of year here in the Carolinas where you get into fall and all the leaves change color, and they're saying that because of the weather, it's been hot and then the temperature will drop, that the leaves will change. Like, it will be beautiful this year. That's what they're expecting, like the spectacular colors. And I love how you walk around and you suddenly see everyone's doorsteps full of chrysanthemums, pumpkins and stuff. And I know people, some people say, oh, they really love fall, they really take the mickey over there. In Britain, kind of take the mickey, but I completely get it now, because summer is so blooming hot. It's so hot you can't walk outside your front door.
And so the fall is kind of crisp, right? Because it's cold, but it's not so damp. Like in UK, it's always so damp.
It's dry, basically. You have this extremely hot
dry
summer.
Is so nice.
And then when it gets a little bit cooler, it's like a celebration, because you're like, oh, this is wonderful. Thank goodness we can. So you kind of celebrate the change of the leaves, because it's just a lovely time of year. And so you walk around and there's everyone's changed their pots and gardens to be really, I don't know, just the lovely kind of sedums and.
But then when would the frost then come? Because I feel like in UK with the autumn, it's unpredictable and it doesn't feel long enough to do anything with. But is the fall a bit more reliable? And
we have
a set period of time.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about that yesterday. But the seasons in the UK seem to kind of merged a little bit. But here, whilst it does go up and down, you get very distinct seasons. So for the next couple of weeks, it will distinctly be fall. Do you know what I mean? And then it will very much drop in temperature, and it will be winter. You get those very.
So you really can celebrate that moment. In UK, I don't everyone says, "Oh, seasons aren't the way they were," but I don't know if they were ever that distinct in a way.
Oh, I think they were. I can remember as a kid they were. They definitely were. Yeah, much more than they are now, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I get it. I get
I wasn't thinking about weather when I was a kid. So
no, that's true. You don't why would you? But yeah, it's just a really beautiful time of year. The leaves haven't changed where we are yet. It's still green, but over the next few weeks they'll start to go, and it'll be very beautiful by the end of the month. So
lovely.
That's
Ellen, we have 6 more minutes before we have to log off and drop into our next interview for the season. But just want to say this episode is all about social media. So if you've got any comments, do drop them in, because we had a few different voices on social media. Some people that love it, some people that hate it, and really nice kind of provoking conversations as well. So that was really, leave a comment. We'll put up some lovely posts about it, which will get you guys talking. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's all good.
Very, very nicely done, Michael. You usually say to me, "Oh, Ellen, you get all formal," and that was you just being all formal. I appreciate it. I appreciate it very much.
Well, it's lovely weather here today, in case you wanted to report on it.
Oh, no, but great. I'm pleased for you, really.
Oh, wonderful. What else was I going to tell you very quickly? I bought my nieces and nephews some Japanese gifts.
That's cute. Some koala.
I forgot to buy them in Japan, so I bought them at Ichiba, which is this Japanese supermarket at Westfield, and took the prices off.
You know what? I'll tell you a secret. When I'm away, I leave my car parked on my mum's friend's drive. And she magnets. So mum says to me,
what? Sorry, I missed the word.
Magnets. The lady.
Oh, right, yeah.
Whose drive I parked my car on. And my mum said to her, well, just, as a favour, bring her back some magnets. She will love that. I forget every single time. I go on Amazon, order the magnets and send them.
That's cute. Oh, my God.
They never really come from where I've been.
But you can get a hold of anything anywhere these days, It's
the thought that counts.
Oh, dear. Oh, darling, we better log out and then... meet the queen of houseplants, yeah?
Yeah, how exciting for upcoming episode soon. All right then. Speak to you in a minute. Bye, everyone.
See you later, darling. Bye.
Hey guys, the sponsor for Series 16 of the Plant-Based Podcast is Grow This Not That, which is the Substack by myself, Michael Perry, also known as Mr. Plant Geek. This is the place where you can get all the hot happenings in the hort world directly to your inbox. Every Friday there's a hort report which brings together the influencer, industry and home gardener worlds, and every Wednesday I'll recommend 5 plants that you can grow, and subscribers get an extra free as well. All you need to do to find out more about my wonderful Substack called Grow This Not That is go to mrplantgeek.substack.com. Hope to see you there. The music for the Plant-Based Podcast is part of the song Grow by Mikey James, and our editor is Gareth Patch of Semi Echo.